Hallo und willkommen zurück bei Tuto Tags Metal Reviews. Heute feiern wir das Jubiläum von Herzeleid von Rammstein. So, apologies if that sounded iffy there. Just thought I would have a little fun thing to introduce you guys to our anniversary review celebrating 30 years of Herzeleid by Rammstein. It's their debut album. Man, where do we start? This band, while not the very first new German hardness band, is probably the one that popularized it the most. I know Oomph was the first. That was kind of the progenitor. But I feel like this album came out a year after Oomph's, I believe it's Oomph's second album, which is titled Sperm.
Lovely.
Lovely, which started to popularize that and really got it off the ground, but Rammstein really ran with it.
Yeah.
So I think this record really put that on the map and really blew it up. So where do we start with this one?
I don't know where to start. Okay, maybe just to piggyback off what you said. So this wasn't the album that propelled Rammstein. Sehnsucht was the album that propelled Rammstein. That came out 3 years after this one.
Yes.
So that was my introduction to Rammstein. Obviously, Du hast was the big song, right? So my Rammstein listening kind of was all over the place. I didn't listen into it in chronological order. But once I got to Herzeleid, it was fucking game over. This album just hits the right mark. And you know what I would do? So this is back in the day when people were still listening to CDs and MP3 players and things like that. I had basically all the Rammstein albums on a playlist. And I would just, wherever I was going, walking on the bus, wherever, hit play on Rammstein playlist and it would just shuffle all the songs. And the amount of times I went, oh fuck, which album is this song from? Herzeleid. This is an example of a song that's all killer, no filler. And
An album,
yes. This is an example of an album that's all killer, no filler. And it just really hits the right mark. And even now listening to it, like I haven't listened to this album in a while. Put it on, right back in the zone.
You never left.
The first note of the first song, and I'm like, yes, I want to fucking punch something right now. And Rammstein, I said this to my wife the other day. I said I always get bruised thighs when I listen to Rammstein because just punching my thighs, and that's just totally like it's a Till thing, right? So Till Lindemann does that all the time. He's on stage, he's just pounding his thigh. And it feels so natural to do that while listening to Rammstein. So I just get bruised thighs. And I'm not even kidding. I'm just pounding away because it's such driving music. It's like hammering music. And it's not in the sense like if you listen to a band that's got pounding double bass, for example, that's a different kind of driving. This is a driving where it's just really hard hitting, really aggressive, really punching in your face. And it's just so good at that.
And that's a big part of the new German hardness sound. Like, it's basically a metal subgenre. And I know some people are kind of purists in the sense of, like, this isn't specifically industrial metal, but it's
dance metal.
Well, yeah, that is a way you could call it.
Like, in a sense, yeah.
It's a hybrid genre of industrial metal music and German and electronica from Europe. It is a hybrid of that. I think this album's a very perfect example of that because what Rammstein did, I mean, this band is legendary.
Yeah.
They really don't have any bad albums at all.
No.
And they evolved in the sense of introducing more and more things into their sound. But I think if you really wanted kind of like more principles of what the kind of subgenre is about, this is a really good album for that because it's constantly doing that.
Yeah.
It does. The album itself does have diversity in it, but I think at its core, this album is pretty straight up for that. And I think most people who don't know this band well, but kind of just think of this band, they'll think Du hast because it is the most popular song. But that song and kind of like the sound associated with that song, I feel like is most present on this record. So I feel like if people like that song and they want that driving force, this is the record to go with. So to start an album with Wollt ihr das Bett in Flammen sehen, it's such a great opener. It introduces the vibe and tone of this record perfectly. And it's one of the best ways that I describe a lot of how strong this album is that it has an edge. There's a really sharp edge to all of the harder tracks from this record. And that song is really, really good for it. The gun reloading sample for some might be cheesy, but in the chorus, but I love it.
You know what? You got to consider that this is 1995.
It's also 1995.
So at this point, hearing a gun reloading, it feels like I've heard this a million times, but in 1995, it wasn't as common at all.
Yeah.
So at that time, it was cool. I still think it's cool. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
I also always thought that I knew it was a gun cocking, but I always thought it kind of almost sounded like a can opening to like a beer can or a pop can. It kind of has that kind of crack to it. So I always thought that's kind of funny. I just picture that in my head instead of a gun, and it's kind of funny.
That is cool. And it's not the only song that has a sample. Like, I believe Der Meister is the one with the car crash sample, which sounds pretty cool. So it's cool that they have that incorporated in there, like that. Weißes Fleisch is...
Weißes Fleisch.
I think that's probably my number one. That song.
Yeah.
I love how it starts slow, speeds up, bam!
Weißes Fleisch. It's so
Such a mean drive. It's the whole song, album, and band is perfect gym music. And it's a driving force. They all have it. It's super duper cool. I think the solo from that song as well, super simple, but it feels so good.
I made a note about that too. And it sounds almost like a siren or an alarm. And the song's got a very frantic feel to it. But yeah, it almost sounds like a siren or alarm or something dangerous is happening. And then you got that little drum break fill that happens after that.
Yep.
That's totally cool as well.
Super awesome. Love that. What do you think of their self-titled song as the closing track?
So this is a song, it's one of those like slow crawl kind of things, but just sounds so mean, just badass. It's almost like the band introducing themselves, but at the end, like they give us all they got, and then it's like, but this is who we are. Like, I don't know,
because they do say their name in the lyrics of the first track.
They do,
but
I feel like this is the one where they're really hammering it home.
One could say using a battering ram.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
is what Rammstein roughly translates to.
Exactly, and I think that's it's a good closing track as far as I'm concerned, but. Every track on this song is good, or every track on this album is good. I think I did that twice. So I don't think it really would have mattered where this song was on the album as far as track placement goes. But I think it's fine where it is, and I think it just really hammers home the aggressiveness of this album. It rams it home.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's a little bit bold to have like a 5-minute super slow beater like that at the very end, but I love it. I think it's a really cool way to end it, just this. They let it breathe too, because a lot of the songs are they have a forward motion with the way that the rhythm's constructed, but this one's a little bit more open air, and I like that. I also love the title track from the album, Herzeleid. So, I love the way it starts. It's so sinister. The chorus where he's just saying Herzeleid, loves that. It's a little bit more focused on like the band performance than the electronic stuff, though there is some cool keyboard stuff in the bridge. But love that song. Du riechst so gut, another favorite of mine. That it's just another hitter. What's pretty cool about that song is that as it goes on, closer to the end, you can hear more and more keyboard stuff being layered on as it goes, which is pretty neat. And I think that's a pretty cool song to kind of have in the middle as kind of like a pick-me-up song as well. So I do like that quite a bit.
Yeah, so one interesting thing about this album, before I get into my top tracks or whatever, this actually is kind of like an emo album. Because do you know what Herzeleid means?
Heartbreak.
Heartbreak. And, this album was written after a couple of the members broke up with their girlfriends at the time.
Yes.
And this is technically, in a sense, an emo album, which is kind of weird to consider. But it's also weird to consider that, in songs like Herzeleid, Till is screaming heartbreak, and you don't think about that until you realize what the lyric is, and you're like, wow, he's like this big tough guy with this mean sounding German voice, and he's just screaming sadness. I think that was really cool to discover that and kind of put those pieces together.
What's also great about Till's performance, though, and this just goes for him in general as a vocalist, is his range. Like, he's got performances like that, but a song like Seaman, he's super duper nice and soft, and he's done that with tons of songs throughout his entire career with his solo stuff and with Rammstein. But it's present on this album as well. And that's what's great, because this album is not. I looked through some tier lists. Not too many people had this one super high up, which is kind of weird because this album's sick.
That's crazy, yeah.
But I think so. Then that would kind of imply this album's a little bit of the lesser popular ones.
Yeah.
But I think like a lot of the qualities that are great about the band are present on this one as well. It's just not as, I guess, generally melodic. It's a lot more straightforward and hard hitting.
Yeah, I think people gravitate to more of the other albums because more of the singles were out already when the band was popular. So they're like, oh, this is the single I like, and that's the album it's from. And this didn't really have that.
Not as much.
Not as much, exactly. So, yeah, this album's got a lot of good songs. My top track probably is Du Riechst. I think that's just such a fucking good song. Heirata mich, Marry Me. Another emo-y sounding title. I really love the rad riffs. The beginning sounds like a seance. Till just like in this deep voice is saying I don't know what he's saying, but it sounds like some sort of seance. Drum beat kicks in, slowly gets louder, the riff hits. Just great ways to intro these tracks. Das Herzeleid, the little hello at the beginning. I just love it every time it happens. Just really laid back verses. It's almost narrated in a way rather than sung. And, you know, there's lots of stuff going on in the chorus. You got this weird thing with like a baby crying at the end, but then if you listen to it close, it almost sounds like maybe a child laughing. And did you catch that?
I didn't really catch the idea of it laughing. I just kind of thought that was the only sample that kind of annoyed me, to be honest.
It almost sounded.
Love that song, but that was.
I don't know what it actually is supposed to be, but to me, it's always sounded like a baby crying. But sometimes when I listen to it, I'm like, that actually sounds like a kid laughing, but it's like a distorted. Like the audio is distorted a little bit. So it could go either way, and I think that's creative genius to have something in there that makes you think and make you wonder what the fuck's going on. You mentioned Weiss's Fleisch already, White Flesh. That song is just so sick. Love it. Dear Meester, the Master, super deadly riffs on this song. If I had to pick a song that was probably like the song that's not the best on the album, Seaman, as much of a great song it is, as it's a ballad, I like it for what it is. The other songs just overshadow it so much. But if I had to eliminate that from the album and choose from all the top songs, I think the weakest would be Like Sight, Spawning Time, which, whatever. I do like a little bit of it. The synth presence on this song, I think, is a little bit stronger. And I like the subtle different use of double bass that's on that song. You know, few and far between, but it's nice when it happens. But also, I think it's just one of the weaker songs on the album. Just to finalize my point here, I really love Christoph's snare drum on this album. I like how it just sounds super tight sometimes, like on Seaman. I think it just has a really nice pureness to the sound, to the tone of it. And it's something that really just appeases my ears. But man, Rammstein just doesn't really do wrong. And for this to be their debut album, I find that to be quite impressive.
Yeah, to really open the gate with something like this is huge. And I'd like to see this album get some more love. And it's, you know, I guess this video is basically...
Yeah, we're trying.
We're trying.
And it's about 30 years. I'm surprised they didn't do something special for it. Like,
I mean, they did something for, what, 25?
Did they? I don't remember.
Yeah, they did a remaster.
Oh, yeah, right.
So
either way, really good stuff, and I am ready to rate Herzeleid. So are you ready to rate Herzeleid?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so toe tag, an easy toe tag, one of the easiest toe tags I've ever given. And it might be a little biased because I grew up listening to Rammstein. I've been listening to this band since I was 11, I think.
Wow.
And that's a long time. That's 30 years of Rammstein listening for me. So
you were basically listening to this when it was new, like brand new. Well, you got into Essential, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Yeah. So that's a long time. And, you know, I might be a little biased, but I think there's a reason for that. And it's just because the band's so fucking good. And simple as that. They're just so fucking good. They know how to make good music. I don't even think they've had a lineup change. If they have, I don't know about it. But
I think it's just been the same 6 guys.
I think it's been the same 6 guys, or is it 6 or 7?
I think it's 6.
6 guys. And, you know, that also is a testament to the quality of this band, is that they're just so tight-knit. Just awesome. Toe tag. Easy.
We say this a lot. Oh, they don't miss. Oh, they don't miss.
Yeah.
Genuinely, this band has never missed.
They don't miss.
Every single album's great.
Yeah. Some better than others. but all slay.
Yeah. They're on the two-toe tag list already with their untitled album. That's I guess I forgot to mention, this is our third time reviewing Rammstein.
Yeah.
We checked out the last two. They're on the two-toe tag list already. They're on there again. It gets my toe tag as well because it's a masterpiece. I think more people should be checking out this one because I know there are other albums that are more popular, but if you really want the core sound of the new German hardness movement, this is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
And it's timeless. The fact that this album's 30 years old, I hadn't checked it out for a bit. It's been a while since I listened to this record as well. And I put it on, I'm like, fuck, this is amazing. And it's funny how full circle it comes, because years ago, you made a playlist of your favorite Rammstein songs for me to get into the band. And I checked it out, and I thought it was pretty cool. You know, I got into it. And then now, listening to this album this week, as now a fan of the band, you know, after listening over those years, I made my own Rammstein hits playlist.
Yeah.
So it's cool how that all comes full circle. Well, anyway, guys, it's an easy toe tag from both of us. Rammstein is now twice on the two toe tag list. And that's all we got for you guys today. So like this video if you'd like to. Tell us in the comments below, what is your favorite Rammstein album? In fact, give us your ranking of all the records. Where does this one stack up against the rest? They have never missed. So we're curious to see where this one lies for you guys. Please be nice about my pronunciation of everything in the intro. I tried.
It was a good effort. It sounded good to me. I don't speak German, but it sounded like German to me.
So please let me know how it sounded, but please be nice. Anyway, subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I am TV Fish.
I'm Vile Self.
We'll see you guys later.